Screaming Demons RC SDRC in the shop today. We've got a few parts in that I need to put into my XMAXX. Last time I was running it, I ended up blowing the rear diff and took it out. Well, it wasn't super bad, but all the spider gears and the gears in the diff themselves were toasted, so it was time for some upgrades. So I figured I'm going to go with VITAVON, and I always like their parts. Great quality, and I know they made a bunch of parts for the XMAXX. And so here in the XMAXX, here, let's get some light in here. I'm basically going to be replacing the gear that comes out of there. Right there, the pinion gear comes out of there. And that's in this package right here from VITAVON. It's got, this is the front one here. I marked it on the bottom of the bag here. This is the front one because the shaft is longer on the pinion. And on the back, on the rear, it's at the back here in the bag. It's the shorter of the two, and I marked it down here in the corner so I won't confuse it. I'm only going to do the front, or sorry, the rear right now because I need to get that done and the truck back on to the track for making videos for you guys and stuff, and I'll do the front really soon. I'm going to order some brand new gears for the front. Here's the ones for the back. Traxxas part number 7782. That's a diff rebuild. You got your small 4 gears, your spider gears, and the 2 bigger gears, the output gears on there, and also 2 washers come with it too. The reason mine actually blew up, I was doing some big jumping out there at the compound. We had just built a new jump. I was jumping big and landing heavily on the power really aggressively to get the truck to land in the angle I wanted to on the down ramp, and I ended up toasting the diff. But what I think it was over time, these teeth here on this gear were wearing and wearing and wearing, especially on one side. One side of the gear was good, one side was really worn, and the 4 small teeth, the spiders, weren't in too bad a condition. They are usable again if needed, you know, in a pinch. But what it was those washers were so worn out from overuse and lack of maintenance on my part. Having a lot of RCs, it's hard to keep everything perfectly maintained. I tend to maintain it once it breaks in that aspect. Sometimes I just don't get in to do the diffs as often as I should. So I'm going to actually try this time and check out, I got 2 different kinds of silicone earplugs, and I'm going to try that style out. If you're watching this video and you've worked with these before, let me know how it works or any tricks. A good buddy of mine told me try and maybe put some there. It's a dry lubricant, this style, so he said put some shock oil or any kind of silicone oil in there with them so it kind of mixes up and makes a bit of a wetter lubricant than just dry silicone itself. So that's a tip from a very experienced guy, so I definitely will be taking that advice. And so I also got from VITAVON, I've got the diff housing, they call it, and they come stock in the Traxxas XMAXX, and many vehicles they come plastic, and the plastic can heat up and distort, which causes your diff to prematurely wear the gears and eventually destroy itself. So same thing from a good friend of mine who's been in RCs a long time and he knows what he's talking about. He recommends and does on all his vehicles. He replaces the diff housing with aluminum, and it makes your diffs last a lot longer and be a lot tighter and feel better driving it. So that's another upgrade. I got one for the rear, and I also got one for the front of the vehicle when I do that here in the next month. Like I said, I'll order another set of these, and when they come in, I'll do the front end. But anyway, I'm going to get these bags open so I can show you more about these parts. Alright, I've unpackaged all the parts I'm going to be needing. So down here, first of all, we've got the VITAVON spur for your diff. And here we have the Traxxas one. There's nothing wrong with the Traxxas one at this point. It shows a bit of wear, but it's not in bad shape at all. And the VITAVON one is beautifully machined. My camera doesn't pick up things very well up close, but I'll try and get a good shot of it. Yeah, it's really nicely machined VITAVON. You can tell their tooling tools that cut all their metal and aluminum are beautifully in great shape, sharp. They leave a great look to them, very shiny and very nice, great looking quality. And on the other side you can see the VITAVON logo, and down at the bottom it says 10 by 32 tooth XMAXX. So that's what this is. It's a 10 tooth pinion, 32 tooth spur here for the diff gear. And then up here we have the VITAVON housing, the diff housing, marked on the side. Again, here it says, my camera will pick that up, VITAVON and XMAXX. So that's nice. Beautiful look on the inside, very high quality cuts. Everything looks great, no burrs, no nothing. It just thing of beauty. Can't wait to get that all put together. And here's the stock Traxxas one. Like I said, at this point there was nothing defectively wrong with this or anything, but I just wanted to replace it because I was in there doing the rest, and I knew that it would be a better performance choice to go with the VITAVON aluminum one over the stock plastic. So that's why I did that. And also it distributes heat better. Aluminum will distribute the heat better than the plastic will. It'll just sink the heat into it and start to distort. And so down here we have the pinions. This is the stock Traxxas one. Same thing, it's in fairly good shape. You can see they're just starting to turn, the top edge of them starting to show some wear. So it's usable. I'll put that in my usable parts for whatever, in case of emergency or someone else's XMAXX that comes into the shop. Now this is the VITAVON one. On the shaft it's actually marked with an R. Probably can't see that on my camera, but right there it's marked with an R. I don't know if I'm picking that up, but it's marked with an R telling you it's for the rear. It comes with a bearing on it already. VITAVON supplies a bearing, so I'm not sure if the bearing's the stock size or if it's a different one. And also, it's hard to see on this video probably, but there is a clip that holds the bearing on. It's like a C-clip, so you have to pop the C-clip out, and then the bearing will slide over that collar there. It's a really cool idea. I'm not sure why they did it, if it was needed. Maybe these were walking out of the main shaft of the truck and into the diff a bit more on high acceleration or something like that, causing them to pre-wear. I'm not sure. It could just be to keep it, you know, just in place. The bearing, I believe, I haven't done these bearings on my XMAXX yet, and when I look in there, the bearing, you have to remove the bottom bulkhead or the top bulkhead, I believe, to get to that bearing. So I'm going to go at it from the top because I've already pulled off a few things in there, and I'm going to do some maintenance while I'm in there. So I'm going to go at it through the top, take some of the top parts of the truck off, the shock tower and stuff like that. Like I said, write to me in the comments if you've done this job before. What's the easiest way to do your main bearings there? Bottom bulkhead, or take it from the top like I'm doing? I'm just doing it from the top because I just looked at it and it seemed like the simpler way to go. So anyway, one more thing we got here is the stock diff rebuild kit. My gears here, my output gears on my truck, when I blew up the diff, it had these small little metal washers in here. These ones are flexible like a nylon or something like that. They're a flexible washer, so they're going to take up more space and be a better seal to the silicone O-ring that's in the diff than the ones that were on my truck. So I'm quite happy with that. That's going to be great. It's going to, you know, well, that's probably one reason why all the diff fluid leaked out of my diff, and it was pretty much dry when I opened it up, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the problem right there with why my diff did destroyed itself. But mind you, I could have done a bit more maintenance in there too. So like I said, I do get busy and don't have all the time to do it until, well, you have something go wrong, and then you kind of are forced to. They also supplied some mounting hardware here, four 3mm screws, the cap head ones, I believe they're cap heads, or button heads, and they're for the diff here to hold your this gear here onto the diff. like this. Boom. There's kind of what it'll look like when it goes together. Here, we'll slap it together quick. Boom, there we go. Nice looking piece. It's going to be beauty in there, all hidden away and never seen until I open it up to do the work. But I'll know it's there. And yeah, it's going to do a good job. I'm pretty sure of that. Anyway, this video is getting on, so I'm going to pause it and we'll get into the build here. All right, I've torn the XMAXX apart quite a bit. I actually took the front, or sorry, get the camera up on there. I took the top off and the bottom off, the bulkhead, to get the center drive shaft out, the center drive shaft, yes, that's this here. Center drive shaft out. And I wanted to get the center diff here taken out so I could replace the bearings with some brand new bearings. The diff seems to be still feeling good and solid, so I'm just going to leave it as is. I don't have any fluid for it, and I'm not sure. I think it's 2 million weight or whatever. I'm not sure if these earplugs are good to go into the center diff, so I'm just going to opt out to leave it as is. It still feels good and solid. It felt good in the truck anyway. I'm just going to leave it as is. I will get back into it again in the near future, maybe before the end of the summer, and do that once I get some fluid or find out some more information on that. Anyway, I took the bearings here from, I opened up a brand new kit of bearings for the XMAXX from Jim's Bearings, jimsbearing.com, and I took the seals out and I packed them full of SDRC lube tube, easy bearing lube. I packed them full of that, so they should be good for quite a while now that they're all full of grease. I'm just going to pop those seals back in, stick them on that center diff, start putting that back in the truck. I've got all the parts cleaned and ready for assembly. As far as I know, I should have everything to get her back together, so here we go. All right, I've got the center diff all put back in. The lower bulkhead is all installed. I've installed the new VITAVON 10-tooth pinion here. And I've got new bearings all in there. I've got 3 new bearings in there. One of them came with the VITAVON, like I said earlier. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the spur gear with the spur gear shaft and clean the bearings and install them. I'll probably keep them. They looked still in good condition, so I'll run those still. And basically then I'll put these covers all back on, and the upper bulkhead that goes here, that's all cleaned. I'll put that installed, and I'll get this all back together, and then I'll be doing the rear diff next. It's all down there in parts and pieces everywhere, so I'll get that all assembled here shortly. All right, I've got the spur gear and the shaft installed, and the bearings all lubed up, and that's all installed there. And I've got the upper bulkhead installed. I just have to tighten down the screws. All right, I've got that rear diff all assembled. VITAVON casing, VITAVON spur. The internals are all stock Traxxas spiders and output drive gears. I put earplugs in there for the silicone for the fluid. It's going to be a earplug. I'm not sure what weight that would be. And I threw a bit of 100,000 K diff fluid in there just for a little bit of wet, lubricant that's actually not dry, because these are pretty much a dry lubricant, these earplugs. So I put a little bit of lubricant in there, 100,000 K fluid, diff fluid. So we'll see how that performs. If I don't like it, luckily with these XMAXXs, they're very easily to pop out your rear diff or your front diff, and you can change it up at any time quite easily. So we're going to get that installed into the truck, and I'll show you what it's like sitting in there. All right, I've got that rear diff installed in the truck now. I just have to put the cover on. Aluminum cover here for the diff. This, I believe, is made by, Atomic is the company who makes these covers. I got this a while ago, and I really like how it looks, the green. So I just got to install this, 5 screws, and that's installed. And I'll show you what it's like after. And the diff is looking great in there. Love those gears and that casing. This is the last time we'll see it for a while, so all right. All right, we've got that cover all installed there. It's looking good. Love that green, that shiny aluminum. Looks great. All right, I'm going to get these control arms put on, and I have one pin here For some reason I didn't replace this one pin a while back. It goes into the upper control arm where it goes through here, I believe it is. Yeah, and it's on the other side of the truck. But I think I gotta zippy cut that bolt. I'm gonna check for fitment. If it can fit in as is, I'm gonna just put it in. If not, I might have to cut it to fit. So we'll get that done, and then the truck should be almost back together. All right, we've got the truck all put back together. XMAXX is back together. All I got to do is slap on the tires, and I'm going to actually do a couple of more maintenance things on the front end. I got some shock guards, front shock guards, 3D printed shock guards I'm going to put on. I'll show you what those look like. I'm not going to do that this video. I'm going to do that in another video. Here's the guards. Like I said, they're 3D printed from one of the crew. Kevin Sell sent me these, so I'm going to finally get these put on. What I'm going to do is I noticed that some people were breaking them, and they broke basically right where the front, this long piece here, the shield attaches down to the mount itself. That's where they were breaking. So what I think I'm going to do is add a bit of goop, shoe goo, to the inside on the area that they were cracking. Same with on the outside, the area they were cracking, and see if I can't get away with having them last a few sessions or a season here at the compound. I'll give you guys, I might do another video on doing that and installing them if I get time, and I'll let you guys know how they work out over the season. Anyway, if you enjoyed that video, throw me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you like RCs and like learning how to work on them and seeing some new parts that go into some of the new RCs that are out in the market here, I have a few of the good ones, the Arma series vehicles and the Traxxas vehicles, and lots of guys here at the compound own and bash lots of different vehicles, brands, and yeah, so we do lots of different stuff. If you're new to the channel, like I say, and you like this stuff, please subscribe. Trying to build up the members. Really appreciate it. And if you got anything to say or ideas for future shows, things that you want to see, definitely leave me a comment in the comments below. And until next time, thanks a lot for watching. Screaming Demons RC, SDRC, we're out.